Natsuki loves to warn me whenever I'm like, you want to come to Tokyo, mate, grab beers, like, Tokyo, mega earthquake is coming. He said that like every day for like 3 years.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Abroad in Japan podcast. Probably the best way of learning about life in Japan without actually being in Japan. I'm your host, Chris Broad, and we're joined as always by England's top Japan enthusiast, Mr. Pete Dawson himself. Pete, how the devil are you doing? What's going on?
It's a very good morning to you and our viewers and our listeners, and also Lewis Hamilton, who sponsored this energy drink that I found in the reject bin in Sainsbury's. So it's too good to waste. Was £1.90, now only £1.20. The Lewis Hamilton Monster Energy Drink. So that's what this show is sponsored by this morning. Me drinking a gopping energy drink that's disgusting. Morning, man. I feel like I haven't seen you in a little while, and since we last spoke, your big cycle fun thing video came and went, and you and I feel like you've had a really full week, even though you've not actually been cycling. Whenever you release a video, I just think you've done it right there and then, if that makes sense. So I've very much enjoyed that video, and I recommend people getting involved.
Well, we launched if the whole releasing a video at the same time. If that had been the case, we released the second cyclothon the night before the third one kicked off, rather confusingly, right, back in March. And I think people weren't expecting this video for like another year or something, given how slow we are.
Right.
But, yeah, Paul did a great job. Paul, the cameraman Paul, as he's called on Twitch now, because he's a streamer. He's moving up in the world. He filmed it and edited it all in sort of 2 or 3 months, in between doing all these other projects for me as a cameraman. So yeah, he's a busy boy, and it's 90 minutes long. You know, it's the longest.
Yeah,
I think it's the longest Abroad in Japan video ever, save for Natsuki the movie. Well, that was just over an hour. So yeah, this is the longest thing ever. Though it does go quite quick, right? There's so many things happening. It does feel quite fast paced, I think. Yeah.
I think watching PewDiePie abuse everyone with the world's most, I'm going to say heavy curry. I'm going to say a lot of glasses of milk flying around in that scene, and I very much respect CWA's big Welsh flag on the back of his bike. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Good video. It's one of my favourite videos from you, and it is 90 minutes long. Wild.
Jesus. Yeah, people seem to enjoy it. I think it's nice. You can put it on in the background. I saw a few comments like, I put it on in the background, but then I started watching because it sounded good. That's what we want.
Young people, and that's young people for you.
But, PewDiePie was fun. Apart from when he put lubricant all over our bike and the brakes stopped working on my bicycle because it was covered in lubricant. That wasn't so good. And he fell off his bike moments later, and it felt like justice. It felt like a divine justice upon Felix. It was a really nice cast of characters, though. I think it kept it kind of engaging and interesting. We had like Pete, of course, who helped carry us through the painful second week. We had Natsuki, who was on the bike for like 8 minutes. He came for 2 days. And he cycled for like 2 hours in total, I think, which was really anticlimactic, because in the build-up to it, he was like, I got my exercise bike. I'm cycling every day, no problem, 40 kilometres. And he lasted like 40 minutes. So he was telling some porkies, I think.
Right, okay. Yeah, the last time I cycled for any length of time was in like a valley in Italy about 10 years ago, and I remember some bigger boys just managed to get up this hill really easily, and I realised that I am the most unfit person around, and I was absolutely dreadful. I was really, really, really poor and couldn't really do anything. It's
you're not that bad.
It's surprising that however fit you think you are, I think cycling is such a pure sport, effectively, and if you're not quite there with your fitness, you can really, really find it very, very difficult indeed. So, I commend you. And also, Chris, since we last spoke, your I'm going to say nightclub, not nightclub. Your bar has opened in Shibuya. Lost.
Indeed.
I don't know what I was expecting, Chris. But it's a lot classier than I thought it was going to be. Like, it looks like a proper bar where I sort of think, should I be here? This is too nice. I don't know. I expected like an old shack with like just crap everywhere.
That's what it looked like.
And Natsuki smoking cigarettes in the corner. But it's really the sort of place you'd take a lady.
We don't want you there, though, Pete. We don't want that North East
my
England
ladies
riff-raff
right.
walking in.
No,
keep you
I'll
out.
steal something.
It's been a very good first week. It's actually the 1 week anniversary of the bar being being open now. And I remember when I did a tour of like Natsuki, Connor, Pete. It'll be coming out later in the week. It's really fun. They all said the same thing though when they got past the door. And the door, right, because it's a gacha machine, we found people get really confused and just assume, the bar must be on a different floor. Or must be on a different building. But this big old gacha machine, we're going to have to put something on it because it's not working. People are like leaving because they're like, where's the bar? Maybe it's not here. Well, even though if you look at it, it's got the Japan logo on, you know.
Maybe your listeners and fan base are kind of they're a little bit like me. They're a bit timid, and I guess Tokyo is kind of one of those places where you are a bit kind of reluctant to open a door in case you're rude to people. But I mean, look, just boot it open. If the Broadway Band podcast, you learn nothing else today, just boot it open for crying out loud. Get in there.
I guess people, feel like there's probably a worry, isn't there? Like defacing a gacha machine because you have to give it. It's a fucking heavy door, right? It takes me 2 arms, 2 hands to like push the thing out of the way. It's like Jesus' tomb, the cave that he was resurrected in. You got to really push that rock. You got to push that door. But then when we went in with Pete, Natsuki, Connor, they were all like, "Wow, this looks like a real bar," which makes one wonder what the fuck people were expecting.
What you expected.
Like a tacky... I think a lot of people wanted it to look like this ramen shop, kind of a rerun of this or something, which would have been cool, although everything would have got nicked, stolen, broken in a week. You can't have like a full-blown set and turn that into a bar, right? But, yeah, the response has been really good. I mean, I like sitting in there on a rainy day. We had a typhoon the other day, and... that day, it was Friday. I didn't want to promote it to people like, come on down, survive the typhoon in our bar. I didn't want to like encourage people to go out in like a death situation. But it wasn't that bad.
UN tent situation.
That's right. UN tent with cocktails.
Fire festival with Chris in his bar.
But I didn't want to promote it. But a lot of people still turned up, and it was really nice. I spent the time in there with American Pete, and it was sort of, the bar was half full, about 3 or 4 p.m, whatever it was, and it was just nice going around chatting to people, the rain hitting the window, and because it's like it overlooks Shibuya at night, it's kind of got this really nice neon glow. We've got a big GU, GU, the clothing store, across the street.
I didn't know it, but when I did my doggies and walked up and down the street that the bar is in on Google Maps, do your doggies, do your work, and I walked up and down the street on Google Maps. It was just like, oh, that's where it is. It's basically really near the Don Quixote, isn't it?
It's like 10 seconds from Don Quixote. Yeah, it's really cool, and you can see into the bar from the street, which is kind of cool. Yeah, but the GU sign across the street, all the light comes in, and it's like a pay our electricity bill.
Free, pay your electricity bill.
God bless GU.
It's great. It's great.
It's good. What isn't good, I've got really bad toothache after drinking this iced coffee. Ow, my right mouth is now in agony.
It's just completely numb now, right? Well, you're sort of drinking it out of a flask. Is this some kind of like anti-marketing ploy to stop people from, criticising your coffee choice?
It's kind of that. Also, it's just a McDonald's coffee in here. Well, I don't want to be, seen walking through Tokyo with a McDonald's coffee, because that's my image. I want to cultivate a new image, like my bar of sophistication.
Dr. Flask. Sophistication, a blue flask. The sort of sophistication someone from Sesame Street might have.
I'm the face of unacceptable sophistication, Pete. I'll have you know.
Unacceptable sophistication. That's your next bar coming 2025.
Absolutely. But it's been a good week, and after this podcast, I'm going to run down there, have a few drinks. It's quite bad that I go down for like an hour. I want to say hello. I end up there like 6 hours, and I drink all the alcohol. I'm supposed to go in for an hour and like drink like mocktails, right? But you kind of think, one cocktail's all right.
One's not going to hurt, is it?
Two's not going to hurt.
Then you'd have an arm wrestle with someone at 1 a.m. in the street.
Yeah. It's,
Are you the new? The people who are long in the tooth like me will remember the TV show Cheers. Are you like Sam? Are you like just constantly
at the bar
cleaning a glass?
Yeah.
And Sam.
That would be cool. I'm more like one of the characters that hunches over the bar drinking all day. And
right, okay, yeah, you're Norm.
Keep me away. Yeah,
Frasier.
Keep me away from behind the bar, because that won't end well. We've got a story this week, though, from Jordan from the UK, who says, "Hello, Crumpet Chris and Pilots Pete." Pilots? That's pilot as in
Pilates.
the exercise.
I think it's Pilates, yeah.
Pilates, okay. Jesus, I'm not sophisticated, am I? I'm scum. The first time I went to Japan was in a How did I fuck up Pilates? Pilots Pete.
I think if you come to that word sort of called, I think palates can kind of throw you through a loop a little bit. It certainly does me anyway.
Because you've never done Pilates in your life, but you look like a pilot at the best of times. The first time I went to Japan was in a pre-COVID world. My girlfriend and I were in awe as we spent a whole 2 weeks in Tokyo. One day we went over to Tokyo Station area and noticed a lot of people. Now, this area is pretty crowded at the best of times, but there were crowd control wardens waving their big glow sticks and shouting the same Japanese phrase over and over. Something felt out of sorts. After having the most mediocre meal, cooked by Chef Pikachu himself at the Pokemon Cafe, curiosity got the best of us, and we decided to see what all the hubbub was about. We joined the stampedes of probably thousands of people marching their way steadily towards the Imperial Palace. Police cars were blasting the same Japanese phrase out of megaphones, and even more wardens were waving us forward. Our stupid selves decided, it's going to the palace, so something good must be happening. But as we got closer and closer to the main gates, I realised this might be a bad idea, as the crowds were getting so dense that it was apparent it would be impossible to get away quickly. We walked for what felt like days, now looking for a way to break out. We could see people gathered in the middle around a wooden structure with a kind of throne in the middle. It was pretty impressive, and folks were taking their time snapping photos. We finally made it out the one exit after about an hour and a half trying to navigate through. We then researched what was going on, and it turned out that the Emperor and Empress were celebrating the imperial succession. Long story short, don't blindly follow crowds in Japan unless you have time to spare. Have you ever been stuck in a situation like this you weren't expecting? Thank you, all the best. Jordan from the UK. That must have been, can't remember now, 2019-ish, 2020, I can't remember exactly when it happened. The Emperor sort of abdicated or retired. Usually the Emperor, like the Queen in the UK, is the Emperor until he passed away, but he decided to let his son take over. Good old Naruhito, now the Emperor. And my friend, because I met him once and shook his hand, innit? So we're best friends, that's how it works. I'm magic.
That's how it works. Yeah.
Like, if you shake hands with I always say Prince Charles, Jesus. Well, if you shake hands with King Charles and the Emperor, does that make you magic? Do you get like magic powers, do you think?
Well, I would say the soft yielding flesh of Prince King Charles's hands, celebrated sausage fingers, would surely be a lovely way of spending an evening. I could shake that man's hand for absolutely ages. But yeah, I mean, I imagine that just following a crowd into a building is probably how the Emperor became Emperor in the first place. You know, just accidentally fell into the job, accidentally got ordained as God's representative on Earth. That's how it works, isn't it? The old monarchy.
That's how it works. That's exactly how it works. I think I've been in. I don't like crowds. I'm not a crowd person. When I was 9 years old, my family went to Westminster Bridge to celebrate the turn of the millennium. Right, the evening of when was it? December 31st, 1999, and my dad. I was like, I want to go to the toilet, Dad. And he was like, oh, okay. So he had to take me off to some toilet. And then they closed off the bridge, Westminster Bridge, and we couldn't get back to our family. So for the next 6 hours, I didn't see my family. I was stuck in a crowd of horrendous drunk people being sick. I was 9 years old as well, and I was like, what's wrong with these people? What's happened? Why are they
were you by yourself?
Physically sick? No, I was with my dad. I was with my dad.
Oh, you were your dad, right, okay.
Bored stiff. And I was just like, what's wrong with civilization? So I got locked in that crowd, and I think ever since, I'm a bit like, I try and avoid crowds where possible. I don't like being stuck in a crowd. I've been, to Tokyo fireworks. Fireworks is one place. The Halloween in Shibuya, I went one time. My idea of hell, although it's your favourite thing, Pete, we're very different in that regard. You love the crowd. You love the
you're gonna have to administer this crowd this winter, because you are now a hostelry owner. There's gonna be people sort of running in, running out, skeleton costumes. I
know, right? And you can't drink in Shibuya now, so everyone's going to come to the bar. But that's fine. We can manage that crowd of 45, 50 people. But Halloween in Shibuya was hell on earth. It was kind of cool seeing the costumes, but just that sense of, I want to go now. Oh wait, I can't, because I'm in a crowd of people. And if I move, I'll get flattened. And so, not a fan of that.
No.
But you came close, Jordan, to seeing, a pretty big event, actually. It's quite rare to see the Emperor and Empress out in public like that in Japan these days. So that would have been cool if you'd seen it, which sounds like you didn't. Sounds like you ran away.
But you're close. You ran away. Ran away from the Emperor.
Well, I've been wanting to run away from Japan this week ever since the issue has been, the threat has been issued of the Megaquake alert, which has since been rescinded, actually.
Right.
It's been a long week since Pete and I last recorded. In that week, there was an earthquake down in Kyushu on the Nankai Trough. And it's a trough. The trough runs from Kyushu kind of to Shizuoka, just west of Tokyo. And it's sort of theoretically, if something goes wrong there, it could lead to a mega earthquake. Pete, fill us in. What's going on? Although thankfully, that mega earthquake warning, a rare thing, has been rescinded since it happened.
Yeah, well, we had this sort of news story earlier in the week, and Japan issued its first Megaquake alert, and there's always earthquakes in Japan, and obviously they're a constant sort of threat. I don't know why anyone lives there. It's mad. But the ground hates you. But the idea of like a megaquake, I really wasn't across what that actually means. But following a 7.1 magnitude earthquake off the coast of Kyushu on Thursday, August the 8th, Japan issued its first ever alert over a potential megaquake occurring in the Nankai Trough, which it's a big old trough, Chris. There's no two ways about it, and there's always like quite a lot of threats down in the old in the NT, as I call it. It's and the possibility is just increased because the Kyushu earthquake registered a magnitude higher than 7, and so a lot of the trains were cancelled, a lot of the trains were restricted, but then eventually Japan did lift its warning about a potential megaquake 1 week after it was issued, which seems like a long time. They issue the megaquake, and then a week later they go, you know what? Yeah, I think you're fine. Was it a megaquake? Wasn't it a megaquake? Who really knows? But the Japanese government said it was no longer asking the people to take special precautions, and they were free to go back to their normal lifestyles. But yeah, it was such a big presence in the news for like about 2 or 3 days, and then they just went, nah, you're all right. Actually, we're fine, which is amazing. Because it could have been really, really destructive. But experts say there is a 70 to 80 chance of a magnitude 8 or 9 quake striking somewhere along the trough in the next 30 years. And the tsunami is the big deal, really, because obviously the quake is some way off the coast south of Japan, southeast, and it's a big old trough. It's a big destructive element in Japanese life, and they're expecting a really, really rough one in the next 30 years. So it's going to be a big job for Fumio Kishida to deal with, I think.
I've been working on a documentary about this mega earthquake for a few months now. I actually started filming last week. And when the threat was issued, I was like, no, not an earthquake before my documentary comes out. Hold fire.
Edge it. Nankai. Edge it.
It's going to happen. It is going to happen in the next 10, 20, 30 years. There will be something, there's a 70, 80% chance, right? And so the threat is there. Natsuki loves to warn me. Whenever I'm like, you want to come to Tokyo, mate, grab beers, like, Tokyo, mega earthquake is coming. He said that like every day for like 3 years. And I think it's just he doesn't want to fly to Tokyo. He can't be bothered. So he pulls that out. The main problem about the Nankai Trough is, in Japanese, it's Nankai Torofu, which sounds a lot like truffle, which is tofu.
Delicious.
Tofu. And I'm like, truffles? Truffle? What is this Nankai truffle?
Wobbly truffles, delicious.
It's a right nightmare. But yeah, no, it's scary. When the threat was issued, it was like a really uncomfortable week. Like, oh fuck, is it now? Is it is the big one going to come now? And it would be devastating. It would most affect sort of Shikoku. This one anyway, the Nankai Trough would affect like Shikoku, Okayama, Osaka, that sort of area, and there would be a lot of fatalities. One thing I've learned about earthquakes is it's more about what follows after an earthquake than the earthquake itself.
Yeah.
Like in 2011, which was a mega earthquake, it was actually technically known as a mega thrust. Why do they call these things?
Oh dear.
Mega thrust.
That is a shame. That is a shame.
Demonetised. But that's what happens when the crust goes under, mega thrust. And it was a magnitude 9.1.
Mega thrust of the crust.
Mega thrust. And yeah, the earthquake was bad, but it was the tsunami that caused the most casualties, the most damage. Similarly, in 1923, when they had the big earthquake in Tokyo, that most of the casualties were fires that broke out across the city. Most Tokyo houses were wood. They're very densely populated, close together, fueled the fire. There was like tornadoes of fire across Tokyo because of the heat and the pressure.
Oh,
it was just hellish. So it's what happens after an earthquake where things get really scary. And of course, like Sendai, they didn't have electricity and power and water for a week or two. Like Ryotaro told me that they were reliant on water trucks coming around the neighbourhood every day, replenishing their reserves. And just this idea, especially now, 36 degrees Celsius outside, formidable temperatures, formidable humidity, with over 120 casualties from heat stroke alone this summer. It's kind of like, Jesus, if that happened now, and there was a power cut, the casualties from that alone would be just horrific. So, yeah, it's scary. And so when they rescinded it, it was a bit like, we can all have a sigh of relief now. We can all be a bit more relaxed. But the threat is still there. The threat is very much still there. And but I'm filming that documentary all week, and I'm actually traveling around the country on this one. So it's a really big project that I'm taking very seriously, because I haven't done a documentary in a while, and I think it's important to get back to doing some serious stuff in between. How many bagels can I eat? How much chicken can I eat in a day? It's nice to do some actual meaningful content.
I love the bagel and chicken video. It's my
You're part of the problem.
My favourite video.
You're part of the problem, watching my awful videos.
Do more bagel stuff. Do more bagel stuff.
Every day I do bagel stuff for breakfast. We'll be back to the moment, guys, with your stories, comments and questions over in the fax machine.
Wow.
Then we're back with the fax machine. What have we got this week from our listeners? Mr. Dawson, fill us in.
Hello, Senor Pedro. Is Senor Chris. In the end of December, me and 9 other friends are going to have a 3-week vacation to explore Japan. We're planning domestic flights from Hiroshima, Sapporo, and then Sapporo, Tokyo. So my questions to you are, what do you think is a good time to arrive at the airport? Should I prep for anything to check in for the flight? Thank you for in advance for your time. Aaron from the tower.
Very mysterious. What tower? Where?
I don't know.
When?
Maybe I don't know. From the tower. Maybe you met. Did you meet someone in the tower? I don't know.
I did not meet anyone in the tower. That's weird. That's one of those fax machine messages you want to get some more exposition on what's going on there.
Explain yourself.
From the tower, locked away.
Explain yourself.
In Spain, a Spanish tower.
Do you think that I know like people in my life, they want to get to airports about 3 hours early, and I don't know why. And it irks me, and it's a waste of time. And I'm sat in having a burger at departures, going, I just wish I was on the plane. This is boring. But I think if you're going to fly anywhere that it's going to have enough resources, enough people to administer security, X-rays and stuff, surely it must be Japan, and you could turn up a little bit later than anywhere else. Would that be fair, or is it just really busy because there's loads of people?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a domestic flight, I don't really get there. I try and always get there 2 hours early for domestic. If it's international, I do try and get there 3 hours early because
2 hours early before the flight.
Early. Well, you don't have to. But like
pre-security. 2 hours early pre-security is approaching okay, but I find like Americans, like obviously they fly like they're getting a taxi, like they get on a flight and they're away, and Brits were just a bit more like, oh, what are we doing?
I just get excited though. I like airports. As a kid, it was like my favourite thing going to the airport, and then I stopped enjoying planes, and it got a bit less fun. But like I like the atmosphere of the airport. Everyone's going somewhere. You get the board, and wow, they're going to Hong Kong, Hawaii, Athens, and then I'm like going somewhere shit and. Off somewhere rubbish. And
when I sort of like when you drive past Heathrow, or when you kind of get a train to Brighton and it goes through Gatwick, you are a bit like, I could just get on a plane. How exciting! Like just seeing all like the destinations and the different terminals and stuff. You go, I could go to Ethiopia. Like, you know what I mean? It's really exciting stuff. I agree. It's aspirational.
Now. I want to go to Ethiopia.
I just want to go to Ethiopia.
Yeah, I want to go actually. I want to go and see the valley where humanity began. What's it called?
Punch it in the face.
What's the?
You've absolutely as a part of the Earth, you've really done yourself a disservice there.
Shit. What's the name of the area where all of humanity comes from? This is annoying me. I
don't know.
I'm tired this morning. And this isn't fair.
Where did we all come? Well, I know it's Africa, but I didn't realise it was Ethiopia, to be honest.
Fuck. Rift Valley. Fucking Rift Valley. Rift Valley.
Rift Valley or Rift?
Rift Valley. It's a great Rift Valley that runs down the east side of Africa. I'm getting thrown off because this chair's squeaking. I've got toothache. This is a bad day.
You're having a bad time. Right, okay.
We've got one last question from Miku. Says, hello, Chris and Pete. My wife and I will be in Japan during festival season this August and are wondering how can we take part in the festivities while knowing almost no Japanese? Are there any faux pas that we should avoid so as not to disgrace Gaijin everywhere? I love the podcast. Thank you, guys. Mika. It's quite hard to take part in a festival in Japan in general. I think, you can go as a spectator.
It seems kind of closed off and stuff. It seems like people, the gaijin who get involved in it are always like working in the area, or you know what I mean. You're kind of involved in the community anyway. So I don't think you're necessarily an active participant. Obviously, you can attend and watch, but I think carrying one of the many things through the streets probably not going to be something you're going to be doing.
So like ALTs in Japan. English language folks in Yamagata, for example, they get involved with the local festivals in Yamagata and whatnot. I did one festival in Morioka years ago when I was doing a video, and some producers got me in there, and I just like waved a stick around. I wasn't really sure my contribution was overly valuable, but what I will say is a Japanese festival though, the atmosphere in general, you feel like you're taking part in something. You feel like you're captured there in the spirit. I went to one in Oshima actually with Connor last year, about 1 year ago exactly, where we sort of went there and we just danced around, and that's in a video called like I Escaped to an Island with Connor and it was awful.com last year. But like if you just turn up to a festival, you can just start dancing around, and that's kind of cool, and I like that side of things. But yeah, festival atmospheres in Japan are beautiful. The only thing that's not beautiful is they're typically in summer, and it's so hot, it's not particularly fun being outside for them. But usually the okonomiyaki is there. That'll see you through. There's lots of okonomiyaki and lots of beer and things.
Balls.
But,
lovely.
It's weird how it's mostly August, though. Like, in August, there's festivals every corner of the country, and then it sort of stops. But, there's a really nice festival in Yamagata called... where they have, like, imoni parties. Imoni's like this potato vegetable, and people stand around having soup all day at the side of rivers in Yamagata. So that's really nice as well. But just pick a festival, go along to it, and stuff yourself full of food, have a cheeky dance, and in my book, that's taking part in a festival, right? That's my idea of having fun at a Japanese festival. Keep the stories, questions, comments coming in, guys, to brawnjapanpodcast@gmail.com, or right beneath in the comments. Tell us what's going on. But for now, have yourself a great few days, and we'll see you right back here to do all over again on the Brawn Japan podcast. Bye for now. Have a good one.